What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. I'm your host, the Fellow KGB. You can follow me on Twitter at the Fellow KGB, and Thursday night hangout at 6 o'clock Central Time here. I'm just going to fire up my screen share, and I don't know, we're just going to hang out in the chat room. We got a couple people in here. We got Justin, we got Rudolph's hanging out with us tonight. How's it going, guys? Thursday night hangout, there's no rules. I can answer whatever questions you guys have. We'll probably just open up the ESPN screen share here and just kind of walk ourselves down through some lists. And just kind of talk about what's going on in the NBA. Fantasy basketball is, I don't know, we're mid-swing here. What's going on, Oscar? Thanks for hanging out tonight. Questions, whatever you guys need to do, we can take a peek at. I'm just going to kind of go to the add player section, and we'll just do some filters and just kind of look around and see who's hot right now. We got a lot of good games on tonight. I'm trying to think. Maybe we should pull up the schedule. Let's take a look at the schedule for tonight's game. I don't know if anything started yet. Maybe 6:30. Yep, 6:30. We get Miami and Houston. Let me see what else we got going on here. What's going on, Aiden? Thanks for hanging out tonight, guys. So 6:30, Heat and Rockets, Raptors, Celtics. That's it. The Raptors are hot right now. I want to pull up the standings right now too. Raptors are playing really, really well. You got Norman Powell playing really good ball right now. He should be a must-add pickup right now. The Raptors all of a sudden launched themselves up to the 5 seed. I think a week ago they weren't this high. They were out of the top 8 for the playoffs. So Toronto is looking like a good team at the moment right now. Got a question from Justin here. Let me see what we got. So which team is better, my day one or right now? Day one was Russ, Harden, DeMar, Zion, Capella, Kyrie. I'm assuming that's Gallinari, Gallo, Devontae Graham, Terry Rozier, Ibaka, Wiseman, Blake Bogdanovich, or Donovan Mitchell, Rocco, Zion. So I'm trying to do the figuring out here. So you got Donovan Mitchell, Covington, Zion, Harden, Josh Jackson, and Kemba. So who did we get rid of here? I'm assuming you got rid of, looks like you may have got rid of Russ. I'm confused here. Wall, Allen, Trey, Mitch, Rob, Zeller, Herder, and Lou. I'm really confused. Day one was Russ. Who did we get rid of? Who did we get rid of, Justin? Carl Anthony, KD. We got to pick just one. Man, Carl Anthony Towns, Kawhi, Tatum, Beal, or Kevin Durant. We got to just pick one. I'm assuming. I think that's for Aiden's draft that he's doing right now. I usually just pick whoever's the hottest player on the board. Let me just see what we got going on. Kawhi, Tatum, Beal, maybe KD. I mean, Kevin Durant would be really nice to get there. It's probably Kawhi Leonard right now. I like Bradley Beal a lot, but he seems to have slowed down. So I'm probably going to say Kawhi Leonard at the moment. So Rudolph's did a trade. He traded Clint Capella and Enes Kanter for Zion and Jamal Murray. Interesting. Okay, so hopefully you were pretty good at center behind Capella and Kanter, and we ended up with Zion and Jamal Murray. Let me just kind of type in these names real quick here. So Capella's been one of the hotter centers of late. We're just going to add him to the compare. We'll throw in Kanter. Now, Kanter's value is really dependent on how long Nurkic is going to be out. So this is probably a good opportunity to cash in your Zion or your Enes Kanter tickets. And let's see what Jamal Murray. I'm assuming that's Jamal Murray there, not Deontay. So over the last 7 days, technically Jamal Murray's just continued to have a frustrating season. He's not been worth the third-round pick, but again, this is a buy low opportunity. We want him to be, steadily, scoring 20 real points per game and just chipping in all of his other stats here. So hopefully he can get things evened out, but this might be a good buy low opportunity for a guy like Jamal Murray. In terms of Kanter, again, his numbers are going to start to plummet once Nurkic does come back. I'm assuming after the All-Star break. So for now, this is a pretty even deal. We're just looking at the last 15 numbers there. Things look pretty even. And then, yeah, based on the last 30 days, Jamal Murray's been playing some good ball. So I think in the short term, it's kind of a push, but in the long term, Jamal Murray over Kanter, that's probably the guy you want to hold. So I think Rudolph's did a pretty good move here. Let me see what else we got here. So Oscar traded Young and Ja for Kyrie and Michael Porter. Interesting. Let's take a look at Michael Porter. Michael Porter's been back and healthy now. So we'll click him into the mix. Let's click into Kyrie. Kyrie's been pretty fun lately. And then you traded So you traded away Trae Young, and then you also traded Mr. Morant. There he is. Okay, so just looking, I guess, in the last 30 days, technically, like Kyrie and Trae Young, that's like a 1-for-1 deal. So I see that kind of being a push. Let me just filter by the last 7 days and see what we got going on here. So I might have held on to Trae Young. He's probably the best player of the group here. Let me see, 2021 season. Just on the season, though, Kyrie's actually got more fantasy points per game. So I guess at the moment right now, Trae is probably the hottest player. You see some of these 50s he's been putting up, just scoring massive points here. So well, that's Kyrie, actually. So to swap out Trae for Kyrie, that seems pretty even. And then you're gambling on Porter outscoring Ja Morant. So the last 7 days, it's a slight edge to Ja Morant. So it's close, Oscar. I think I probably would have stuck with Trae Young and Ja Morant. But if you like Michael Porter, I think that's fine. Ja Morant's still a pretty good player, and I think Michael Porter's going to be okay. It's not like a bust or anything. Levine, Irving, Paul George, Randall, Sabonis. I like Sabonis if you need big guys. And then if that's your Aiden, if that's like your crazy league with all the random rebounding and stuff, I would probably lean with Sabonis or maybe Randall in that one. So Rudolph's got the trade offer. He's going to give Ingram for Porzingis and then LaMelo. So you give Ingram so you get Porzingis and LaMelo Ball. So you'd have to drop Kemba or Garland. I'm probably staying put. I'm probably staying put with Ingram, but you can get Porzingis and LaMelo. What's Porzingis been doing? How's he been helping everybody lately? Do you need a power forward center? I mean, he's pretty. I mean, he's got that massive ceiling here, but he's not like a must-have player. I think I'd rather stick with Ingram over Porzingis. But then you're going to get LaMelo Ball in the deal. Does that kind of tilt? So basically, like, would you rather have LaMelo Ball or Kemba or Garland? I like LaMelo quite a bit. He's been putting up some good numbers. But I don't know, Rudolph's, if that trade's going to make your team that much better. For me, I'd probably just stay put and keep my Kemba and my Garland. So Justin, we're getting back to that question earlier. So we got rid of Russ, Kyrie, DeMar, Capella, Gallo, Terry, Graham, Ibaka, Wiseman, and Bogdanovich. And then you've got Donovan Mitchell, Robert Covington, Josh Jackson, Kemba, Wall, Trey, KD, Zeller, Herder, Mitch, Rob, and Allen. I think I like how your team sounds now. Because of course Bogdanovich is not doing anything. Griffin's not doing anything. I don't think is Wiseman even playing yet? Wiseman's been out for a little while, so it looks like you dumped a lot of guys that are just kind of nothing right now. So Wiseman hasn't played in a while. Gallinari's not doing anything really well. He's kind of hard to watch. So I think you're definitely, Justin, your team now is looking a lot better here. And that's kind of what I was thinking, Sam. I think I would have held on to Trae Young and who else was in that one? Where are we? Trae Young. I probably would have held on to Trae Young and Ja Morant there. What's going on, Sam? Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, that's basically what it comes down to. It's Morant versus Michael Porter Jr. So we still really haven't seen Michael Porter Jr. just like turn it on like he was playing in the bubble. So there's, I guess there's this, an unknown ceiling kind of hidden there with a guy like Michael Porter. But at the moment right now, again, he's shown glimpses, but you need him to like start averaging, almost 20, real points per game and get him into the high 30s, the 40s. So you're banking on a guy getting it figured out by the end of the season. So, and then yeah, Trae a little bit better, just a little bit higher floor than a guy like Kyrie. He's also Trae Young's really the only stud in town for Atlanta, whereas Kyrie, it's going to be a KD night or it's going to be a Harden night, kind of. Every other game there. So, yeah. And then do Porzingis and Melo. It just sucks because he's gonna have to cut. Kemba or I guess Garland. I kind of like Garland as like one of the last guys on my bench, but essentially you'd be putting in what's Garland doing? He's averaging almost 27 points per game, so it's not terrible, I guess. It's like a 50-50 deal. I don't think it makes his team that much better. I'd rather hold on to my depth because I don't know, just with weird COVID stuff, I like having as much guys as I can on my bench. What's going on, Frank? Is Giannis going to be the best fantasy bet? Just jumping in here. In terms of like, if I could, like, we just did a mock draft on Tuesday night, and we took Nikola Jokic went #1 overall. So I think as much fun as Giannis can be, I think if most people are drafting today, they're probably going to take Jokic. And let's just kind of filter here. Now, this is just even the last 7 days. Vucevic here, Vucevic is just off the charts. But if we go over to 2021 season, you're probably going to see Jokic up to the top here. So just a slight edge there, 56, and he's got a 4 or 5 point lead on Luka and Giannis. So I think if you're looking to get the best player, it's going to be Nikola Jokic here. So Sam really likes that deal for is it the Porzingis and LaMelo one for Ingram? It just sucks. You're probably going to want to cut probably Garland. Hold on to Kemba in that one. Oh man, let's see here. If we can somehow manage to put Gobert instead of Ingram, should I take that deal? Let's look at Rudy. We'll look at Rudy. We'll look at Ingram. Let me click on Rudy there. We'll look at Ingram here. Obviously, for me, it's tough because like I tend to get attached to my guys, and Brandon Ingram's been one of my guys from early in the season, and he's a good player. I like having him in my lineup. So he's the fifth best, small shooting forward here, almost 40 points per game. You got Rudy Gobert actually averaging more points. So technically that might be taking a loss. And Rudy's got that massive, some 50 burgers and he got a 72-point game. So Rudy might be more valuable than Ingram. And then that would give you a nasty Rudy Porzingis kind of situation. The trouble for me trading with Porzingis is he's struggled to stay healthy throughout his career. I know he's been missing a game every now and then, but he's got some low lows and he's got really high highs. For me, it's a personal decision. I'm going to value Brandon Ingram's consistency, and I mean 37 points per game for Porzingis here. It's pretty solid. Let me let's add Porzingis to the group here. So technically the meat of the deal is Ingram and Porzingis are kind of a push. Like Ingram's almost 2 points better per game. But would you rather have LaMelo Ball, Kemba, or who's the other one? Garland. So I'm not going to LaMelo Ball. Give me LaMelo Ball over Garland. So that's kind of what you're doing. But I'm gonna hold on to Ingram. I think I trust him a little bit more than Porzingis. Let's see here. I'm trying to get Bam Adebayo and D Rose. What is a good offer? So are you trying to do a 2-for-1 here, Justin? Trying to do a 2-for-1. Bam and Derrick Rose. Let's pull these names up on the list here. I haven't seen, how did Derrick Rose do in his first few games with the Knicks? So we're going to clear all players. We'll add D Rose. We're going to add Bam Bam. So Derrick Rose, I think he's played maybe just one game with the Knicks here, but 20 minutes, 14 points, 1 board, 3 assists, a steal, and a block. So that's pretty solid. If you can get that as a floor each night, I think his minutes should, go up here. So he's like a good guy to have at the end of your bench. Derrick Rose, and then, of course, Bam Adebayo would be the main squeeze here of the deal, averaging over about 41 points per game. So Justin, essentially, whoever a 2-for-2. So we would need to know who's on your team. We need to know probably point guards and a center for sure. If I'm trading away Adebayo, I'm going to want to make sure I get another power forward or a center in return. So I guess I would need to know maybe 3 or 4 players on your team that you'd be willing to move. And we'll see if we can find a package there. 2-for-2. And yeah, I think with that trade too, I mean, for me, I personally, I don't do a lot of trades. I like to sit with the guys that I took in the beginning. For me, building through free agency is probably the best. It's been my most successful way of winning championships the last couple of years. Not last year, but the year before when we were able to finish the league. But I really value building through the free agency market. But essentially, your trade offer here is, I kind of view Ingram and Porzingis as a push. I'd rather have Ingram on my team. But basically, you're getting LaMelo Ball for free. You're just going to have to cut Darius Garland. And if the guy wants Darius Garland, you could do Ingram plus Garland for LaMelo and Porzingis. But for me, again, this is a personal decision. I think I'm going to stick with Ingram, even though it'd be really nice to have LaMelo Ball for sure. Let me see what else we got here. Donovan Mitchell, Kemba, John Wall, Jarrett Allen, Mitch Rob, or Zion. Give me Zion. Give me Zion. That's probably the most exciting one. We're gonna look at some Daniel House numbers. Let's look at some Daniel House numbers. He was a hot ad, I think, this last week. Let's see here. And yeah, this is a guy that you can get in free agency. He's under 8% owned. The last night here against New Orleans, 13 points, 8 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals. Starting to get his scoring back up here. I like the minutes too for a guy like Daniel House. Again, and one of my favorite ways to look for free agency is I look at their season stats, and then I look at last 7 days. 30 minutes, 12.8 points, 4.5. Like all of his numbers are up. That's really good stuff there. So okay, those are the guys that we can potentially move. I would try to move Mitchell Robinson if you can. Mitchell Robinson is frustrating, and I've been a Mitchell Robinson guy for the last 2 seasons. It just seems like he can do so much more, but he's kind of settled into 27 points per game here. It just seems like he can do so much more. His scoring needs to be higher for me. So if you can move a guy like Mitchell Robinson plus probably a Kemba, maybe try Kemba plus Mitchell Robinson, something like that. And then the other thing too is like when you're trying to trade, for me, I found it works best to have dialogue or some kind of conversation with your trading partner, and then it just helps. If you're just sending people trades, a lot of times those don't go through. But if you just say, hey, are you interested in moving Bam? I can send you Mitch Robinson, Jarrett Allen for a center, and then you can pick one of like Kemba or Wall or whatever. So I would try to contact your Bam Adebayo, Derrick Rose owner, and just kind of take a heat temperature check and see how he's feeling about some of those guys. But I just want to kind of pull up here. Let's just kind of filter by the last 7 days. I just want to see who's been hot and see who's kind of available here. And then yeah, it's for me, like I don't think I've ever had a trade go through where I send it and like I don't have a conversation with that person first. Like I have to either text them or just kind of nudge them and say, hey, I'm interested in this guy. Maybe we should really have a conversation about this. Who do you like on my team, kind of thing. And this is a nice comment there, Rudolph. Thank you. Just wanted to say, really enjoy your streams. I was here for the first time about 2 weeks ago. Oh, it's 2 a.m. Okay, man. All right. Well, you can come back later. You can check it out. But I appreciate that, man. You have a good rest of your evening, and we'll see you in another one. Thank you so much, man. That's a great comment. I appreciate that. Really awesome. Europe and NBA in Europe. That sounds kind of cool. But anyways, I'm just kind of looking for some free agents right now. So the way I have this filtered is I set the filter to everybody, and I'm filtering kind of by roster. Let's actually filter by points here. And then I'm just going to look for the blips. So a guy like Siakam's been hot lately, the last 7 days, averaging 50 points per game. And yeah, I think if you bought Siakam a couple of weeks ago, you're probably pretty happy because he's starting to look like he's playing like he was the last couple of years. So Siakam, he's back. He's starting to score big points again. You see the 30 points, 1, 2, 3, 4 games over 30 points in the last handful of games. Again, the Raptors are kind of a hot team right now. They're playing some good ball, and they don't even have OG Anunoby yet, but really cool. Siakam's playing really good. And yeah, we're almost at 200 subscribers. It's a slow and steady process, but we'll get there at some point. We're not worried about it. But anyways, let's kind of look around. Al Horford is playing some good ball here. He's averaging 49 points in the last 7 days. He's got a couple 59-point games in this mix here. Horford, I don't think this is the thing that is going to last, but you have to just kind of be okay with getting some 28s, some 24s. But maybe Al Horford's a trade candidate if you guys want to kind of take a look on someone, because he's not like a big. I'm sure he's like a veteran, but he's not like a house-held name or people like, I need to hold on to my Horford. So if you guys want trade candidates, maybe a guy like Al Horford could be kind of fun here. Let me see some other names here on the list. Jonas is back. I think if you guys were okay with waiting on Jonas, he's back. Oh, wow. He's had some massive double-doubles, 15 boards and 20 rebounds. Aiden, if you're still drafting, maybe Jonas might be a guy to look into for your broken rebound league. So Justin traded for Mitch Robinson and Wall the 31st and gave up Turner and Ibaka. Yeah, and just like see, I I secretly really like the New York Knicks. I want them to be good. I think basketball is fun when the Knicks are good. And Mitchell Robinson, like he can be so much better, but they don't really run the offense through him, and they don't give him a lot of opportunities to score. He's one of the best rebounders, one of the best blockers too. So I love that. But essentially, you kind of pushed Robinson for Turner. I probably would rather have Turner in that situation. He's a block monster. And then Ibaka. Ibaka is actually playing some really good ball right now too. Let me just pull up his numbers real quick. Not so much as late. He was playing much better earlier, but he's kind of dipping down here. So he's kind of. I'm cool with giving up Ibaka because you probably like what you're getting from John Wall. So it was a good move to get rid of Ibaka. And then John Wall, man, like, so this was kind of a 50-50 trade. I don't think anybody won, anybody lost. Like, you definitely got John Wall. That's a win. And then Robinson, at least Robinson's better than Ibaka. But Miles Turner is one of my favorite guys just because he does all the dirty work on the defense. He's going to lead the league in blocks. Not sure what happened in this game here, only 9.25. But man, he's just a block monster. Really kind of inconsistent. So maybe Turner's not that much greater than a guy like Robinson. It's pretty close, but you got John Wall though, so that's the prize, man. That's pretty solid. Let me see. We're going on about 22 minutes. You guys keep firing up the questions. I just want to kind of go back to what I was looking at before. So I'm just kind of filtering by the last 7 days. I'm hitting average, and I'm just kind of rolling down and looking at these percent rosters to see who sticks out as potential, maybe buy opportunities. DeLon Wright, Detroit's shooting guard, point guard. He was on the waiver wire like maybe 2 weeks ago, like down in here, maybe mid-January, and then all of a sudden he's starting to put up a 50 a couple of weeks ago, back-to-back 40-point games, flirting with some double-doubles with the assists. So DeLon Wright, 80% owned. I don't know if this is a guy that you can acquire for cheap, but I do think DeLon Wright's playing some really good ball right now, and that needs to be acknowledged. Let me see who else sticks out here. Hamidou Diallo. Look at this. Look at the numbers, Hamidou Diallo, and he's 35% owned. I think he's averaging 25 points on the season. In the last 7 days, though, he's averaging 38 points. You see back-to-back 40-point games, back-to-back 30-point games, a high 26, a 29. So just his last 6 games, he's been playing really good. And then you look at the minutes, 38, 41, 31, 37. He's a scoring threat. I like that I can see some double-digit rebounding opportunities. And then the assists, he'll get a handful each night. And then the steals, too. This is a guy that needs to be owned. So again, like with just the way I like to play fantasy basketball, I'm trying to add Hamidou Diallo instead of trying to make trades. I just think if I can get a guy that's going to pop off for 30 or 40 on a given night, that's a really good win. And I just kind of keep trying to make the bottom of my roster higher scoring than the next guy I added. So what's going on, Speed Hydra? Do you think we should add Tice, Ennis, or Derek Jones and drop Jeff Green? Interesting. So these are all really good names, and I'm familiar with all of them. I just dropped Jeff Green to pick up Ennis because he's got 3 games in the next 4 days. So I did pick up Ennis. I'm in a tough matchup too, and I was able to pick up Ennis. I already have Daniel Tice, so I really am a fan of Daniel Tice. But the thing I noticed with Ennis is his minutes are spiking up here. He's a pretty consistent scorer. Hopefully he can get us some double-digit points, but he's just going to kind of fill loosely everything in. And then, again, he's got 3 games in the next 4 days. So if he can get us 50 to 60 points, I think that's a really nice potential add there. Let me look at Daniel Tice's. How many games does Tice play the next few days? So you're going to get, again, 3 games in 4 days out of Daniel. This is probably an add. And I don't know I think he rolled an ankle in this game. So of the guys that excite me the most, I'm going to say get Daniel Tice first, and then probably Ennis, and then we'll look at Derek Jones. So I think Daniel Tice needs to be owned. He's less than 25% owned. Let's just look at his numbers in the last 7 days are kind of weird because he's got that 1 point whatever game where he got hurt. But for the most part, a bad game, he's going to get you 17. 15, but he can peak for some of these high 20s and just be a really steady player. And then again, his next few games, he's playing Toronto, Detroit, and Washington. So those teams aren't really really blessed with the centers department. So it might be a really good run for Daniel Tice. I think that's a really good add. Let's take a look at Derek Jones Jr. real quick, who I think he's back tonight. He's back the other night too. So I like Derek Jones Jr. quite a bit. He's just inconsistent. But it's good to see that they threw him out for 29 minutes right away, 8 points and 10 boards. And then they do play. Yeah, this is a team with 3 games in the next 4 days as well. So Philly, Cleveland, and Dallas. Give me Tice for sure. I think Tice is the one guy I want out of those because center positions line up really, really well for him with Philly. Cleveland, I can see him having a good game. I'm not sure about Dallas, but I think I'm going to rank them Tice, Derek Jones, and then Ennis. Really good question, Speed Hydra. That's a fun one. And then, yeah, I tried giving Jeff Green a chance because he had 2 games the last two nights, right? So we got 30 points out of him the last 2 games. That's fine. We wanted more, but we'll see if we can cash in on some of those guys there. Sweet. So we're trying to get Anthony Davis and Anthony Edwards. I can trade Donovan Mitchell, Kemba, Zion, Allen, Herter, or Zeller. Oh, so trading for Anthony Davis and Anthony Edwards. All right, you're probably gonna have to send him. I mean, if I can move Kemba, I like Kemba, and he's the thing with Kemba is he's got more name power than he does actually fantasy power. And I like Kemba, but I think I would try to move Kemba in this deal. And then you're going to have to ask the guy, does he want Allen or probably Zeller? Because if it's me and I'm giving away Anthony Davis, I'm going to want a big guy back. So, I don't think I would move Zion either. Zion's the guy that I would hold on to, who lately he's just been doing what he's been doing all season. So he's a top-notch player. But if it costs Zion to get an Anthony Davis, I mean, give me Anthony Davis for sure. But then you're kind of lowering. I guess Kemba and Anthony Edwards can be pretty equal. Donovan Mitchell has just been. He's kind of in that Jamal Murray tier where these guys have just been kind of frustrating. But it looks like he's picking it up a little bit. He's got the 15 to 60 back to back. Almost a triple-double the other night, too, against Indiana. So I think I'm holding on to Mitchell. I think the guy that I would consider moving is probably Kemba. And then you ask him Jared Allen or Cody Zeller. You guys know I like Cody Zeller on the show. Let me just see what Zeller's numbers have been the last few games. So he's kind of got some low numbers, so that might be kind of hard to sell. But then Jared Allen's kind of moved into the starting lineup. And this is attractive. Just the last 2 games, he sees these spikes back up there. So I really like what's going on there. So I would try to move Kemba, and then you probably got to ask him, does he want Jared Allen? I would assume you'd want Allen over Zeller. You can go ahead and list your team. Aiden just did a draft of, I think it was a 4-man draft. 4 teams. So there's going to be some stacked lineups. You can go ahead and fill that out. Let's see. Kind of want to just look back at some of the stats. So we're just going to filter by last 7 again. And I want to look for some more inconspicuous plays that might be worth adding. But I still don't know how to say it. Is it Vucevic? I always want to say Vasuvic, but it's Vucevic, I believe. Don't get to watch a lot of Orlando Magic games, but he's been the hottest player the last 7 days. You see the 75, the 62, just playing some monster minutes and just career high 43 points and 19 rebounds. Jesus. Vucevic, man, playing. He's the #1 scoring player over the last 7 days, so that's going really well for him. And again, Pascal Siakam, definitely playing at the best of his season so far. Now let's look for some maybe buy low candidates in the trade market here. If you want, maybe go ask the Drew Holiday owner, because he tested positive for COVID, so he's going to be out probably in another 7 days. But you're getting a player here who's pretty damn consistent. On the season, he's averaging 36 points. This might be the opportunity to take just take a look at Drew Holiday's owner and say, hey, do you want someone? I'll take Drew Holiday off your hands, man. He's out for a week. Let me have him. So I kind of like that move there. We talked about Hamidou Diallo as being one of the better free agents to probably pick up. Again, under 35%. He's probably the free agent to pick up right now. Lou Williams. I think I had a question from Justin on Lou Williams earlier, but Lou Williams has picked it up. 29 minutes in the last 2 games, 27 points, 23 points. Some monster games. Lou Williams. I mean, if you play in a 10-man league, he's under 55% owned. I think Lou Williams needs to be scooped up pretty ace like now if you're in a 10 or 12-man league. Under 55%, averaging almost 36 points per game the last 7 days. That's pretty solid there. So what do you think about trading CJ for Brown? Is that CJ McCollum? CJ McCollum? Is Jaylen Brown playing yet? So, okay, so he played the other night. I'm assuming he's going to be good to go for tonight. These guys they're both pretty similar. I think CJ McCollum's going to be out for a little bit yet. Let me see. So Rudolph's, I think it would depend. If your team is like 5-2, 6-1, you can handle not having. So you have CJ McCollum and you're trying to get Sterling Brown, or you're trying to get Jaylen Brown. If the Jaylen Brown owner is like 6-1, then it would make sense to maybe move Jaylen Brown because he can pick up a McCollum. Just on the season here. So they're really close. It's 42.7 points per game to 41. When I think McCollum's going to be back after the All-Star break. So this would be a question. Like for me, I wouldn't trade away Jaylen Brown for McCollum, especially if I need to win now. But if the guy with Jaylen Brown, if he's looking good, he's got 5, 6, or even 7 wins. It might make sense to move Brown and get McCollum. I think that could make sense. So it's pretty even. It's pretty even. I just think if you are the McCollum owner, like if you can get someone like Jaylen Brown, I would do it. But in your instance, you're trying to push CJ McCollum, so I probably would be on the Jaylen Brown side. I would want Jaylen Brown for sure. It's just happening in my league. So it's happening in your league. Okay, so again, yeah, if I'm 7-0, 6-1, and I'm doing really, really well, I'm cool with getting McCollum and just letting him sit on my bench because I know I'm going to already make the playoffs. And technically, McCollum has been the better player when healthy. Now, I don't really know if it's that much. Like, is 1.17 points going to make that much of a difference? It's kind of like a 50-50 deal. But if you're in need help now, go get Jaylen Brown. I think that's a wise move. So hopefully it's nothing too shady, but Jaylen Brown better for now. McCollum might be better for later. So it really it depends on the outcome or the shape of the current teams. Same scoring, but scoring got boosted a ton. We're doing boosted scoring again. So Anthony Davis and Capella, or Rudy and Tatum. Let's pull this up here on the handy dandy comparison chart. Let me clear players. So we got Rudy Gobstoppers, and we got Channing Tatum, Jason Tatum, and then Clint Acapella, and we got Anthony Davis. Okay. So just on the season stats, this is pretty even. You see basically Capella and Gobert both at 40, Tatum's 43, Anthony Davis 45. So it's a difference of 2 points just on the season here. So we're looking, maybe let's just look at the last 7 days. Last 7 days, I'm going to want the Gobert and the Tatum side. Tatum's been playing really well, and Jaylen Brown missed some of those games. So that's why you see some of these 55s here. That's because Jaylen Brown was out. They didn't have to distribute the ball as much. Now, what's going on with Anthony Davis? He's been day-to-day for like ever. He's missed the last couple games. I like Capella quite a bit. I'm not sure what happened in this game, but he's been a double-double machine, so this feels pretty good. Yeah, I do tend to go with Anthony Davis being he's the guy that you want. Like if we were doing a fantasy draft, like Anthony Davis would be the first guy picked off the board, probably Tatum next, and then maybe Gobert and Clint Capella are really close. But I'm just kind of like filtering here, and I don't really see that much of a difference in terms of scoring. But especially, so here's the way that I kind of think about it is we have the All-Star break coming up. We really haven't seen teams ramp up and get like serious, like we haven't seen like serious basketball yet. I think after the All-Star break, you're going to see the studs come out and start to play a lot better. So Anthony Davis, I think, is the prize. I think I would go with Capella and Davis on this side. That's probably where I'm going to lean. I'm just going to lean with the studs. So I agree with you there, Sam. And yeah, so does Rudolph. AD has big upside. We really haven't even seen the best of Anthony Davis yet. He's been just basically just kind of being neutral. He hasn't really peaked yet, so I kind of like that. So Justin's saying Zion and Allen for AD. He said no. Whew, that one's tough. You're giving him some good points because he claims Andre might not leave. I don't even think it. Jared Allen doesn't need Andre Drummond to to be gone to have value. Jared Allen's actually. I mean, if Jared Allen's like the worst player on your team is pretty damn good. And for where everyone was drafting Jared Allen, we got him for cheap. And again, you see the last couple games where he got inserted into the starting lineup, 25 to 34. If that's his range of points, like I'm fine with that being one of my worst players. And then he still, of course, if Drummond misses a game because he's injured, you're going to get some of these booms. But I don't know. I don't think Jared Allen needs Drummond traded for him to have value. So I like getting Jared Allen, and this would be technically a trade candidate for me if I can get Jared Allen for cheap in a trade. I think I would do it just because yes, there's potential Drummond gets traded. There's also potential Drummond gets hurt or anything like that. So try to see what people are feeling on Mr. Jared Allen. So Aiden, this is his 4-man league. We got Luka, Bradley Beal, Jaylen Brown, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, Randall, Vucevic, Sabonis, Jeremy Grant, Fournier, Westbrook, Oladipo, Malik Beasley, Rozier, Hero, Harrison Barnes, Conley, Clarkson, RJ, OG. Okay. Jesus. So yeah, you're probably getting like 5+ points for a 3. Hayward, Wood, and Van Vliet. What's going on with Christian Wood? Let me see. Because Wood he got taken off on a wheelchair a couple of weeks ago. So that right ankle sprain, we might not see him for a while. This was a pretty severe one. Yeah, he left that last Thursday's game in a wheelchair. So I'm not sure what's going on with Christian Wood. Hopefully you got some IR spots to slide him in there. I'm trying to see what else you got here. How's Evan Fournier been doing? Orlando's kind of weird, but Fournier been missing some time here with a back injury, but he's a 3-point shooter, so that makes sense. You're probably just going to be trying to get guys that just hit threes, huh? For the most part. Let me see here. Would we back in 2 weeks? Yeah, that should be probably just a slow ramp up for first couple games back too. I just want to filter by 3-pointers made. So you were probably looking at this, Aiden, but man, if you can, did you get CJ McCollum on your list? If you can somehow acquire him and just hold on to him. Buddy Hield, man, almost 4 threes per game. Joe Harris up there at 3.3. Duncan Robinson's a 3-point guy. Wayne Ellington, 3.1 threes. Gary Trent's hitting 3 threes per game. A lot of interesting names here at the top of the list. Let me see. So someone in my league offered me Ingram for AD. It seems like a bad trade for me. Offered me Ingram so someone wants to get Anthony Davis for Brandon Ingram. It seems like a bad trade for me based off where they were drafted, but it's annoying because AD always misses games and not playing that well. If he wants Anthony Davis, try to get Ingram plus another guy. But I think we kind of talked about how we think Anthony Davis. We still haven't seen him hit his best set of games yet this year. So there's still a lot of upside with a guy like Anthony Davis. Yeah, there you go. Sam's on the same wavelength here. Ingram's fine, but he's not like if you're redoing your draft, he's a 3rd or 4th round pick. He's not like a cornerstone of your team. He's just solid every night. He's not going to have, a bunch of 50s and things like that, but he's a solid mid 30s, sometimes 40s. But Anthony Davis, he's a league tilter. Yeah. Well, do you have Twitter there, Rudolphs? If you have Twitter, you can follow me, and I do respond pretty quickly on there. If you don't have Twitter, you can also comment some of my other, maybe on the latest basketball video. You can leave a comment in there, and I can get back to you in that as well. So otherwise, we can let you get out of here. I would just say just go click on another old video and leave a comment, and I'll get back to you after this one. Offers me Donovan Mitchell and Zion for AD Ibaka. Is this kid okay? Donovan Mitchell and Zion for AD and Ibaka. Huh. Donovan Mitchell and Zion for AD and Ibaka. AD is a little better, but Ingram is more consistent and plays. That probably depends on how many games per week. But again, the fantasy basketball is long term for me. I want guys on good teams who are going to be playing down the stretch for playoff seeding. So even though it looks like AD's not playing well right now, he's probably not playing as good as he can be. So I'm gonna hold on to Anthony Davis. Again, I like Ingram, but we haven't seen the best of Anthony Davis. So yeah, we're gonna hold on to Anthony here. It's close. It's close, but I'm gonna hold on to. People have different values. If you value consistency, but if you get 3 or 4 games from Brandon Ingram in a week, you're gonna be pretty happy with the output. But the Lakers are just being cautious with Anthony right now. So you see some of this stuff here. These are good numbers. These are really good numbers. But you do see some lows here, under 30. We just look at Anthony Davis real quick. Actually, we should probably compare these two again. Ingram and Davis. So the last 30, just in the last 30 days, there's a 10-point difference in points. In the last 7 days, it's pretty even. So Ingram's playing better of late. Last 15 days, it's going to lean Davis. On the season, though, again, that's a 7-point difference. And if that's the 3 or 4 game week for those those guys, you're getting almost 21 more points in a week from a guy like owning Anthony Davis. So with Davis, just be patient, just take your lumps. Like the 129 game is kind of an outlier. A bad game from Davis is 35 to 38 points. Otherwise, you're going to be happy with these 40s and these 50s. So I think we sit tight with Davis. AD and Bojan, I get and give up Donovan Mitchell and Zion. I think I shouldn't. AD and Bojan, I get and give up Donovan Mitchell and Zion. Is Bojan even going to help us? How's he been doing? I mean, he's actually been playing some good ball last handful of games here. This one's close. You have a good night there, Rudolphs. We'll catch you another time here. Get a good night's sleep. Have a great Friday over there in the UK. So back to AD and Bojan Bogdanovic. I mean, I don't mind these numbers from Bojan here. These are 25, 27, 27 is his worst games the last handful of days here. I just don't want to see any of this dippage back into the 15s and the 19s. So it's close. It's close. I'm gonna hold on to Donovan Mitchell and Zion, I think. So that four-man league is for Aiden's team. I think Justin's probably in a 10 or 12-man league. I can't remember. If you want to clarify, Justin. But Aiden was playing. Aiden's the one that drafted over here on the 4-man league. We got all those guys. So I really don't know how to help Aiden's 4-man team. I've never played in a 4-man team, and he's got some kind of crazy scoring. I've never really played with anything kind of non-conventional. But essentially, you just want to probably just keep getting guys. Like if Beal's the best player, you kind of want to just keep getting dudes that hit threes, right? So yeah, that's a 10-team league. So a 10-team, and then Sam in a 10-team league, he'd be getting AD and Bojan, which I don't mind Bojan, but I think Donovan Mitchell and Zion, it's close. Like we can pull it all up here. So we already got. We'll uncheck Ingram. Let's pull up AD and Bojangles. Go ahead and pull in. Where is it? Zion Williamson and Mitchell. I don't think I can move it just off name value. Zion and Mitchell, I don't think I can do it. I don't think it's that close yet. Bojan's playing really well. He's trying to sell high. I wouldn't cave. No Tyler Hero tonight, huh? Might be a good Duncan Robinson evening then. Hero might be one of those buy low guys because someone might be a little bit sour on him after all those games that he missed. He hasn't really been playing great either. You don't see any big boom games, so maybe Tyler Hero's the guy to kind of buy low right now. And I just think after it's going to be a long February, and then after that All-Star break, I think that's when basketball is going to get really, really good. I think you're going to see a lot of the studs start to perk up. Hopefully, like Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell and some of those sleepers can kind of get some things going. But anyways, we're going on about 45 minutes. If you guys got any more questions, I'll take a couple more. But otherwise, I'm going to get out of here. We got some good basketball on tonight, so I'm probably going to go see what's going on the TVs here. Raptors Celtics looks like a good one. I'm trying to see what's on TV here. I wish it would tell me. So you got Sixers and Trailblazers on TNT tonight, but Heat Rockets are underway probably pretty soon here. What's going on, Fabian? I was just about to get out of here. If you guys got any more questions real quick, we can pound some of those questions out real quick. But Thursday night hangout, I will be back. Monday night, I'll do a waiver wire video. Tuesday night, again, we'll hang out with Drake and John, so we'll get some of that talk going here. But just going forward, Thursday night's going to be just the hangout night where we can kind of just open up the chat room and talk and have a good time. But I don't know. I appreciate everybody in the chat room. We had Fabian popping in, Sam, Justin. We got Rudolphs. Big shout out to Rudolphs. Thank you so much, man. Speed Hydra. Of course, Aiden's in the chat room. I think I got everybody. I don't think Oscar. Where's our guy Oscar? Oscar popped in for a little bit. Super cool to have all these guys hanging out in the chat room tonight. Is Kemba worth dropping? I heard they might trade Russ for Kemba. It depends on who you're dropping him for. I like Kemba. If you're in a 10 or 12 man league, that gets a little tough. If you're 8 or 10, I think then it's okay to cut a guy like Kemba. Let me see. Kemba Walker. Kemba's tough because you just know he's gonna miss almost a game a week, and he's kind of stuck there, with as well as Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have been this year. He's not going to be the leading scorer on this team very many games, so I don't know if Kemba's worth dropping. Trades are difficult. Let me see. Holiday trade value, because like you said, I can try to get it. Yep, definitely. What's going on, Michael? We dropped Mikal Bridges 10 head-to-head and picked up Josh Jackson. Yeah, man, Josh Jackson was one of those guys I talked about on my waiver wire show on Monday. And Jackson, he's up there with probably Hamidou Diallo as one of the best pickups. You see the last 5 games or so, he's kind of getting starter minutes again, 29, 37, 25, and 30. The scoring is getting consistent again. A couple games over 20, a high 17, and then he's gonna slowly just kind of get every stat, just kind of collect each thing: rebounds, assists, steals, and even some blocks. So this is a starter for the Detroit Pistons. Josh Jackson's one of my favorite guys to pick up. Maybe before I get out of here, I'm just gonna open up my watch list and see how the guys are doing from this list. We'll look at the last 7 days. And we'll just kind of pull up some of the names here that I called out. Hamidou Diallo, top of the list. Lou Williams, Norman Powell, Eric Gordon. Kevin Huerter, man, playing some good ball. Gary Trent Jr., Josh Jackson. Gary Trent Jr. has been starting to turn it around. Just getting consistent. He's going to get the minutes. So I love this. Like, even when he's not playing well, he's going to get minutes. You just can't have too many of these 13s and these 9s. But he's playing some good ball the last couple weeks here. But, man, Norman Powell, like, I love Norman Powell. Looks like that game just started there, but this is a must-add player. He's hitting the kind of the boosters on the percent rosters. But as far as guys that need to be owned, again, Hamidou Diallo, 35% owned. He's averaging 37.4 points in the last 7 days. Let me just filter by the last 15. He's up to 30. Norman Powell's up to 35. These guys are hot. Let me see here. Naz Reid's got a lot of points over the last 15 days. There's Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards kind of hit a spike. He's over 60% owned. Cody Zeller kind of on the decline now. Cody Zeller was playing good for a little bit there, but a lot of good pieces there. Will Josh Jackson become the sixth man now that D Rose is gone? I think so. I think that opens up a spot. I don't know if they're gonna. Who did they trade? Dennis Smith Jr. I don't know if that's gonna impede on his opportunity so much. Let me just kind of pull up here the Pistons rotation. Josh Jackson, man, we were on him in the beginning of the season. Blake Griffin sometimes in or out too, so sometimes they go small and do a Josh Jackson lineup. But at this point, Josh Jackson's their best bench player, so he's gonna get starter minutes, even though he's from the bench. He's gonna get starter minutes. So I like that kind of bit. Dennis Smith's gonna be on my watch list. I don't know if I'm gonna pick him up just yet. I want to see a couple of games with the Pistons and see how things are going. Did he play the other night here? He hasn't played with them yet, so he's got to go through COVID protocols. So just add him to your watch list, and we'll kind of take a peek on him. I'm not super optimistic about it, but he's worth adding to the watch list for sure. Won't trade Holiday for cheap. He wants full value and doesn't make sense because he's 2-5. Oh man, that sucks. Some people are unreasonable. That's never a good thing. But I don't know. Any other questions, guys? Otherwise, I'm going to get out of here for the evening. It was a good show tonight. Yeah, man, Josh Jackson, a couple of those names that we just talked about, some of my favorite ads. But definitely, you guys have a good rest of your night. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in another video. Peace.